Okay, so you should be able to see Valentina Studio open here. This is a video recording to start off the new series in database technologies and database management softwares, or DBMS for short. Um, now, I'm going to show you a project I had done, and I had actually used Valentina Studio for this project. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to explain it, while at the same time I'm going to show you how to use the interface a little bit and like what you can do with the interface to kind of create your own little projects and so on. Here there's servers, databases, and projects. I'm going left to right, and what I did was I used a database file. This was generated in Python. Okay, so you can do this too in Python. I'm not going to show the script here because that's, I don't think, necessary to show you for right now. In another video, I will show you the script and how it generated the code and or the output and the database and all these things. So we're going to jump right into this. I'm going to open the database here real quick. Let's see here. Apps. Alrighty, so now we're in. This is my project from a database to the tables in the database view. Now, this is all used in SQLite, not SQL, like MySQL or SQL Server or any of that stuff. We're not touching on Microsoft databases or Oracle databases, nothing of that sort. So in Valentina Studio, it strictly is using SQLite. It doesn't actually connect to a SQL server, or does it connect to MySQL or anything like that. You can set it up like that, but for this video, for right now, I'm not going to do that. I will do that later on in another video. So, going into my project, what did I do? So I created these tables called accountant, department, desktop support. You can pause and read for yourself. So I'm going to start off with what what are they used for? Now, from going down the list of accountants, in my project, I was tasked to create an IT company. Now, in my case, I called it, what was it, New Technologies Incorporated, or something like that, and NT Inc. And so accountants were important because they were the employees that were paid uniquely different, or they had certain benefits and all these things different from your standard or generic employee. Now, employee then obviously sounds like the parent type to an accountant. So if you look at employee here, you have employee ID with this little key here. That means it's primary key. If you go to accountant, you'll see employee ID is here, just like employee ID is right here. This is because in database technologies and in relational database management systems, our DBMS, you have these relationships between tables, and this relationship here shows that employee primary key is also an accountant. Now, if you go to something like, oh, I don't know, quality assurance, you'll see it here as well. Same thing happens in desktop support. This is because the parent type is employee, but specifically an employee can only be quality assurance, or they can only be accountant, or they can only be desktop support. Now, something I did in employee table was determine what type of employee they were. If their empl type was QA, then that means they're in the quality assurance table as well. But they could be AC for accountant or DS for desktop support. Now, something you'll notice here in Valentina Studio, as I'm keeping my mouse right here, a pop-up. So it says desk sup underscore is certified, desk sup user experience, and Apple ID. And then you see text, text, and integer. What this means in Valentina Studio in the interface, it's just telling you shorthand what the name of it's listing the fields for that table, and then it's listing the data type. Now, it just went away, but I think I can get it back. Yeah, there we go. So text, integer, text. In reality, when you're connected to your server and you're writing your MySQL code, your SQL Server code, or whatever have you, your SQL scripts, you're not using text. You're actually using char, varchar, or maybe even date. Now, it doesn't say it there. I think if you go onto employee, it'll tell you whether differences. And you can see it here. If you go forward down, you see integer, text, date. Date is different than text. But when you're writing SQLite code, just like you write it in SQL on your server and all, you'll still say date. But when you're writing and inserting and updating and all these things into your data tables, you don't say date and then write the date. You say quotes and then the number sequence. And SQLite here is very, very similar to how you will write SQL code. When you're writing dates in particular, this is how. If you look, I'm going to show you what I have. So I'm going to open the data editor. In Valentina Studio, I like their data editor. It's pretty nice. You can see all the stuff I have. Now again, this looks random, this looks weird, whatever. It's because I used Python. So if you really want to see that video, I'll put a link in the description below, and you can look at that. Now, aside from that, this is just everything in the database or this data table employee. I'm scrolling down, and you can see I have 34 rows of data. Now, I have all these names and all this stuff. What I really want to show, what I really want to emphasize, is the employee hire dates. So it goes the first person hired according to the hire date column is 1982. April 23rd. Now, the format, if it's not clear, it's year, or y 4y's dash month dash day, and that I think I like this a lot when I was working with Valentina Studio. Now, let's show you a little bit on how you can use this interface to actually see the relationships. So right now it gets you the employee to the employee. Now that doesn't really show you anything, right, for relationships. Let's say here we don't want to just see employee. We want to see the relationship between employee and other tables. Let's go employee and quality assurance, right? Now let's go and say, let's see, quality assurance. Related table, quality insurance. Okay, it's a little weird. I remember last time I was able to get this. Huh. Okay. We're in desktop support. Now you can't see anything here, but if you click on these ones, you can see a one-to-one relationship. Now, in databases, a one-to-one relationship means that there's exactly one thing here that maps identically to what's over here in this other data table. Now, that's the relationship, in fact, between desktop support and employee. Now, if you go back to schema editor, you can actually create a whole bunch of things here. Now, I'm going to show you what I can do with my data here. I can actually go from that data. I can write, I was employee, I can right click. Now in Valentina Studio, when you right click, you get this nice little pop-up. You can generate the SQL, or you can create the code, the SQL code, SQL script for new fields, links, indexes even. But what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how to do a select, and this little thing popped up and moved over there. So we want to select, let's say we want the employee names, IDs, hire dates, and the departments they work for. We don't really care about the other stuff. Oh, employee type is good to know, right? So we're going to select all of that from there, and Valentina Studio, it just opened up this little SQL tab here for me, right? Now, let's go and close that start page real quick. We don't need that. And we're going to execute this select. If I execute it, this is the output in Valentina Studio. I like this a lot because in my class when I used MySQL on the Mason server, it was nice and all, but the output wasn't so clear cut. You couldn't see it like we can here. I'll show you in another video what it actually looked like. So, going into a department ID, 2, 3, 1s, 2, 3, 1s, a lot of 2, 3s, and 1s. Python script here kind of didn't really give me a whole lot of nice variability, and you can see all these different kinds of things. It's not very special. This is not filtering, if you will. Okay, now, this select statement is very generic. We just created it on the spot. This is just to show you how we can select in Valentina Studio. Something else you can do in Valentina Studio. You can create views. I'm not sure if you just saw it here, but there's views right here. We can actually create a new view. Create view as select, and then we can do a lot of things. So I'm going to hit cancel there for right now. I'm going to close what I did there, close the data editor. I'm going to go back, right click, and I'm going to, you can do some things here. You can do reindexing, designing, and generate SQL. What I'm going to show you is, let's see, what do I want to show? Let's see what design will let me do. Design table, fields. What's this do? Heh. Okay. Thought I could do. I want to do a view. How can I do a view? Alright, well in this case what I will do, let's do a diagram. I'll show you that for right now. Create a diagram name. Okay, we'll create this diagram is test diagram connect, or rather okay. So now we get this in Valentina Studio's little friendly interface. You can probably do this in other applications, but for right now this is what we got. Now we have server, admin, query, data, query, schema, start, all of these things, right? What I want to show you is the tables. Let's say we drag over employee, accountant, and we immediately see what I just did. All I did was drag them in here, right? Now in Valentina Studio, when I create a diagram, the thing I liked about this a lot when I was playing around with it, I saw the relationships right off the bat without having to do much of anything. And it's actually accurate. This is very true. This is exactly what I described in my project before I actually created the data, before I laid out information or had anything to work with. I was just saying employee and account, there's a one-to-one relationship. Now, really, it's not only one-to-one, but there's actually a many-to-one, because many accountants are going to be an employee, and only one employee can belong to one accountant. And that's true. And you can see that right here. The relationship says it's one slash many. And here it's one-to-one. That makes perfect sense. Now, let's say I drag over quality assurance. Bam! Same exact thing. Now, let's say I don't do that. Say I want the division table. Now, division doesn't have any direct relationship here. Notice how there's no lines and, little angle crow's foot notation. In order to do what we got here with these relationships, in order to do that, we need department. Okay. Now, I'm not sure if you just noticed that, so I'm going to delete that real quick. I'm going to delete that of the diagram. And I'm going to show you what just happened. So I put in department, right, and I got the relationship between department and division. This is an accurate statement here. It's one to many. One department belongs to one division. One division can have many departments, and that's exactly what's happening here. It's a one to one and a one to many. It's going bidirectional because that's what happens. Okay. Now employee, if I tack on this, this is exactly how it is. An employee works for a department, and because they work for a department, they're working for a particular division. But a division does not directly relate to the employee. They indirectly relate to the employee because of the department table here. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, comment down below and hopefully I can explain it in some other way. But for right now, that's how I'm explaining it. So, anyways, in this diagram, you can see a lot of different stuff, and let's show you the full relationships in this diagram. Okay, these are all the tables from my project. Now notice the relationships are all the same between these three tables right here. Now, I don't know how I can show you a strictly one-to-one relationship in this case, but I could try. Just don't know if it's going to be a good idea because I don't want to waste your time. So, something you can see in Valentina Studio, you have a navigator. You can't really move the things in the navigator, you can only move where you're looking. So if you can't get an idea of what you can do with this basically means you have a really awesome view of the tables and the schema you have. Um, you have the ability in Valentina Studio to do this to your background. You can do a lot of different things. I don't know what plane will do. Okay, plane apparently does that. That's fine. Chen. Okay, so in case you don't know this about database technologies and database terminology, there's a few different, or rather, there's two different ways, common ways, that are used for understanding the relationships between tables. There's Chen, and then there's crow's foot. Now, here is Chen notation. The other one was crow's foot, so let's go quickly back. I think that was default, yeah. So default is crow's foot. We can go back and hit that same button and go see Chen. Now Chen, I'm not sure if you can see it, but if we go back, right? If we go back to Chen, can you really see where the relationships are in terms of the direction? Is it obvious? It probably isn't. And I don't think so either, because seeing a black and white diamond, that doesn't tell me much. Whereas if I go to default, if I see this, and I know the notation is this is 1 and this is at least 1, okay, that I can understand that. That makes a little bit more sense than a black and white diamond. Alright? So, we don't have anything of these sorts. We don't have table, we don't have links and views, but we have something. Right? Now, in the diagram tab over here, you can do a lot of different things. You can toggle locks. According to this, the size of this right here, that's apparently a 2048 squared area. We don't really need to worry about all this stuff. All that matters to us is having a nice clean thing, and I think that's good for the diagram. I think you understand the diagram now. Comment down below if you don't. Hopefully it made sense. Now, I'm going to close this out. I'm not going to save those changes. And let's go to the SQL editor. No, we don't want SQL editor, sorry. Diagram, view, okay. Columns maybe? Yeah. Okay. So one thing I liked about all this stuff, you can actually see a lot of different stuff here. You can see triggers, you can see uniques, fields, checks, editor, a lot of different things. So I'm not sure if you just noticed that. If I go back here, it's not showing that it's only to employee, or when I come back to it. This is my data in that table. If I go here under division and I say editor, it'll show me exactly the same stuff. Unfortunately, you'll also see that there's some kind of bizarre numbers and things going on, but ignore these numbers. They're not important. So here, sorry, I'm tired. Yeah, so this is the table for division with its data. We have Fox Uber, Alpha Mars, Blitzbase, Delta Uber. So we have a bunch of weird things here. Then we have department count. So explaining this, division department count is the column that says these X number of departments work for this particular division here. Now, lat and long is literally that. It's the lat and long positions for this division here. That's called whatever. This one's Fox Uber at 81.18, comma 153.52. So, I think I'm gonna call it here for this video. Oh man, I'm tired. Um, I'm gonna go get coffee. Maybe you need coffee. You should go get it then. And I will see you guys later. Comment, like, subscribe, do whatever you want. Enjoy the weather outside. Hopefully, if it's nice. And I will see you guys later. You have a good one.